It is day 19 of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and the Ukrainian resistance is holding up. Air raid alerts were sounded off in 19 of 24 Ukrainian regions. A school in the city of Mykolaiv was hit by Russian missiles. Russia has targeted key Ukrainian facilities, especially Ukrainian air defense. Russians have destroyed several Ukrainian airfields. Babi village of Ukraine also came under Russian missile attack, where multiple houses and buildings were damaged. Ukrainian forces have shot down 4 planes and 3 choppers on Sunday. Zelensky claimed that Ukraine has been able to evacuate nearly 125 people through humanitarian corridors and now aims to send aid to Mariupol, which has come under the Russian attack.
Неділя, але хто зараз зважає на це? 8 років.
Important about today, about war. We will win. Glory to Ukraine. We were able to evacuate nearly 120,000 people using humanitarian corridors. The main task now is Mariupol. Our diplomatic effort is focused on aid to reach the city.
Росія втратила тисячі одиниць військової техніки.
And Russia, as it continues to go ahead with its offensive to capture the capital city of Kyiv, Ukrainians have refused to bow down. My colleague Gaurav Sawant had a conversation with Hennady Daiki, mayor of Bela Tserkva. He said Russians may be advancing from the north and northeast, but their advances will be stalled at the south side. Listen in.
Preparations intensifying for the defense of Kyiv, and we are in Bela Tserkov. This is about 70 kilometers from Kyiv, and with us is the mayor. This is the access from the south. We've been talking about the north, northwest and west, 3 approaches to Kyiv that the Russians are trying to advance from. In the south, they are being stopped, and with us is the mayor of Bela Tserkov. Sir, what's the current position right now?
Звичайно, наше місто, як і всі великі міста України, були здійснені ракетні удари з сторони електропостачання, водопостачання, газозабезпечення, а також теплопостачання.
Today the situation in Bela Tserkva is stability. All the life support system works stably, but we also was attacked by Russian Federation army. We have some missiles here.
So there was a missile strike. There have been missile strikes here. Now, this is quite a militarized zone, even as we speak. Everyone's carrying a weapon. The mayor himself is carrying his assault rifle. His team that work with him, they are armed with their weapons, walking alongside him. Is a Russian invasion or a Russian attack from this flank also expected, like Brovary or in Irpin and Bucha? The Russians are trying to advance from there. What about this place?
Поки що на нас атаки не було. Було декілька диверсійних груп.
No, the situation in Bela Tserkva is stably. We had some sabotage groups, but now it's liquid.
They've been liquidated.
We'll liquidate.
That's a very important point that you make. The mayor is making a very important point about sabotage. Russian infiltrators, they are coming into the system not with their weapons. Their weapons are already here, and then they attempt to target the Ukrainian security forces from behind. And that is where, if you notice this change in the armband, it used to be yellow earlier, it's blue now. It's to keep an eye on who's on the Ukrainian side and who's on the Russian side. But there were some missile attacks that took place in Bela Tserkov. What was the damage like?
3 людини загинуло, на жаль, і 12 людей поранено. Також, є зруйновані будівлі і, звичайно,
we have 3 deaths and 12 wounded. Some building is destroyed, but
you're fighting on.
Yeah.
Okay. In this locality, there have been some missile strikes. Some military installations have also been targeted by the advancing Russian soldiers. But is Kyiv safer from the south side as the Russians approach from the north and the northwest?
Сьогодні в Україні немає міста, де би було безпечно знаходитись, тому що ми бачимо
There are today no safe cities here in Ukraine because we see that missiles attack is on the west, on the south also.
Well, that's an important point. For speaking to us here on India Today, Mayor, many thanks, sir. Ma'am, many thanks. So, protecting the city, but making a very important point. No city is safe from a Russian missile attack. These attacks continue, but ground forces are being stalled at multiple locations. The pitched battles for the control and defense of Kyiv continue. With cameraman Pawan Kumar at Bela Serkov on the southern axis to Kyiv, Ukraine, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
And India Today's Rajesh Pawar has been reporting from ground zero since day one of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And here is what he found out when he was on his way to Bucha. Death, destruction and despair everywhere.
I'm right now standing in front of Babi Yar Memorial. It is a memorial in the memory of those Jews which were killed by the Nazis in the Second World War. Almost 18% population of Kyiv during the Second World War in the late 1930s was almost 18% of the total population. And these people were massacred by the Nazis, and mass graves existed in this area of Babi Yar. And this memorial was made to commemorate these people who were killed by the Nazis. There was a claim by the Ukraine that recently a missile has destroyed this memorial or has caused some kind of damage. And then they blamed the Russian army of destroying the heritage sites, historical sites of Kyiv city. But here we do not see any kind of damage or any kind of bomb in this area which has landed a missile. Just behind this, a few meters away, about 200 meters away, if you can see, is a TV tower. Maybe it was targeted and maybe something fell between these two things, between the memorial and the TV tower, which we cannot see right now.
If you see behind me, this is a new memorial at Babi Yar, which was made to commemorate the barbaric murdering of Jews during the Second World War by the Nazis. And this is a new memorial which was made by the government after Ukraine became an independent country. Ukrainian government alleged that Russians are destroying historical sites, and they gave an example of Babi Yar, that Russian missile or a bomb fell here. If you see towards little away, just 100 meters from here is this TV tower, a huge TV tower, which is a communication center and becomes a legitimate military target. Probably it was being targeted and something fell near it. But as far as Babi Yar is concerned, I have gone all around and I've shown you on camera. It's totally safe. I'm standing in front of a TV tower inside the Kyiv city, which was targeted by a Russian missile a few days ago. But this missile missed its target just by about 25 to 30 meters. And the result was the TV tower is totally safe and standing. But see what happened to the nearby area. You see this pole? This pole is become totally black, it's all gone. And a similar pole was there in the far distance, if you see. And see its portion, other part of the pole went so far and near the car, if you can see, lying on the road. So this is the kind of damage it has done. And if you look around, the buildings have also been damaged. Bring it this end and look at this car, the state of this car. This car has been badly damaged too, totally. So anything in this area was totally blasted, but it missed its main target, which was the TV tower, just by 25 meters. So this is the kind of precision today's military technologies need if they want to hit the target without any collateral damage. I am right now crossing the metro station of Airstrikes, which was hit by a Russian missile a few days ago. The whole area is in shambles, lot of damage, and we are not allowed to film here. So, but I'm trying to do it from a car. I want to show you a lorry, the way it has been hit, that it is burnt. It can be seen now. See the situation. This is how a lot of debris all around, and the whole area is in shambles. And this is metro station Airstrikes inside the Kyiv city. It is right inside the Kyiv city. And this is a missile, a massive missile, probably a cruise missile, which hit this area a couple of days ago.
Thousands of Ukrainians are living in makeshift shelter bombs in city metro stations amidst relentless shelling. My colleague Geeta Mohan earlier visited one such makeshift shelter. Here is what she found out.
We are here at the metro station to see how people over here are taking shelter. If you come from upstairs, it almost feels like there is nobody, but the moment you enter the metro station, they've made their people who these shelters are housing to keep them warm, also to keep them safe. Most of these metro stations now have become bomb shelters as well. So a lot of them living here in the metro station, in the metros. If you see, that's the metro right behind me, and you can see it has become home to a lot of people. So this is the only safety that many have found, a safe place. Metro over here. Living over here to find some warmth is also to ensure that they're safe. On the ground training of the civilians here who've joined up in the Territorial Defense Force, been split into groups and then being taught how to enter territories occupied by the enemy.
Начебто ми маємо нажати. Так. Дві групи готові. Розділились на четвірки, стали в бойову позицію.
How is the deployment? How does the deployment take place?
Справа в тому, що у нас є безпосередні блокпости неподалік від нашого тренувального загону. Вони туди вже люди виходять буквально з першого дня. Ми як заїхали сюди вперше, то одразу стали і почали нести службу.
Around the training base there are some points on which guys are already working. As soon as they're finishing all the levels of the trainings, they're going on the first on the red block posts. The best of them are coming together and going on some missions.
Okay, so the best of them go for missions and others are sent to checkpoints. Hide behind bushes, buildings, whatever they can find and move. Ensure that they have all eyes around. That's why you see one person who always has his back to the team, and the one leading then leads them to where they have to go. So they're being trained in how to encircle the enemy from various places and then attack, launch their attack. A very significant and important training because these very young people from the community, young, old from the community, are going to be sent to various checkposts, and should there be infiltration by the Russians, this is the tactic that they have to employ to ensure that they encircle the enemy and take them down. In one of the undisclosed locations here in the Kyiv Oblast, Geeta Mohan reporting for India Today.
Gaurav Sawant now joins us live from Ukraine. He is risking his own life, getting you all these ground reports from war-torn Ukraine. Gaurav, if I could throw straight across to you to get us a pan-Ukraine update on what is going on right now, and we hope that you're safe as well.
Chaiti, thank you very much. Day 19 of this conflict is seeing air raid sirens almost across the country, perhaps an indication of intensification of Russian operations. There are reports of forward ground movement of Russian troops. There are reports of intensified apprehension of missile strikes. So there are two situations. One, air raid sirens going off almost non-stop in multiple cities. On ground, from reports that we've got, people are being evacuated. So people are being evacuated. We were in Brovary late yesterday evening, and there were multiple buses. Oleksiy Kuleba, the governor of the Kyiv region, he's also the military commander of this region. He's announced emergency evacuation of people from Brovary, from Bucha, from Irpin, and that is because they expect Russian forces now to move forward and intensified shelling. There are special trains being run even as we speak to take people towards the west, as west of Kyiv as possible, and not just from here, not just from Kyiv, but from Kharkiv and several other places. Mariupol, if I give you a pan-Ukraine picture, Mariupol has seen more Russian troops come in that Donbass region. There are intense operations that are happening, and the tragedy is that about 4 lakh people need to be put out of harm's way. You need to get them out of harm's way. Anyway, in any day, this is easier said than done, given the fact that trains don't have enough space. Road movement is restricted because of rocket and missile strikes and intense operations that are going on at multiple locations. Also, many more checkpoints have come up now. The aim is to guard Kyiv, to protect every flank that approaches Kyiv. So additional checkpoints and posts are coming up. Those huge concrete slabs are being put on the road to stall the advance of Russian tanks and armored personal carriers, with Ukrainian troops, veterans and others guarding those checkpoints to ensure that they can stall the advance at every stage. Now, some videos are going viral, Chaiti, that seem to indicate the kind of damage that has been inflicted on the Russian armor advance in some areas. But there are also reports that some Ukrainian soldiers and civilians have lost their lives in rocket strikes and missile strikes. Yesterday's rocket strike at Lviv, in a way, was an eye-opener, because it was a realization, as the governor or as the mayor of Bela Serkov told me, that no city in Ukraine today is safe from Russian rocket attack and missile attack. Lviv is very close to the border with Poland. That's the route that people are taking to leave this country. Now, according to the Russians, 180 foreign mercenaries, as the Russians put it, were killed at a military training institution. The Ukrainian government says 35 Ukrainian soldiers undergoing training were killed in this missile strike. So this battle for Kyiv is now becoming more intense on day 19.
There's death, despair, destruction everywhere. We were just about playing out those walkthroughs as well, which has been sent by all of you who are risking your lives to get us those ground reports. Gaurav, as far as Russia is concerned, seems like Russia is in no mood to back down, because we just reported a while back that Moscow has threatened Western companies with arrests and seizures and asked China for military equipment to use in Ukraine invasion.
That's a major development. This would indicate that Russian stocks are also at a position that they would require, replenishment of their war wastage reserves, their WWRs, and if they're seeking military hardware from China, is an indication that perhaps they too expect this siege of Kyiv to last longer than they initially may have anticipated. Today is already day 19, and Russia is not inside Kyiv. It's in the Kyiv region, but not inside Kyiv city. It's being held at Bucha and Irpin and Brovary, which is, we drive to those places every other day, barely 20 kilometers from the city center, in some instances less than 20 kilometers from the city center. But again, they perhaps expect that this battle will last much longer, given the fact that West has been able to send millions of dollars worth of Javelin missiles and other military hardware that Ukraine requires, and the fact that for 19 days and counting, Ukraine continues to fight back. Till late yesterday evening, we were in touch with some of the military commanders on ground. Their morale seems high. They're, of course, low on stocks, and this is something that they're now saying. And this is a very clear message that they've sent out. And we have an officer who said that we don't need 9mm Sten guns that some of the Western countries have sent us to fight Russia. We require javelins and NLAWs to fight Russia. Now, this is the indication that while Sten guns, those 9mm rapid-fire guns of Second World War vintage, now you may need them in close-quarter battle, but right now they want to stall the Russians at a standoff distance, for which they require a Javelin anti-tank guided missile that can take the enemy's tank or the adversary's tank down at close to 4 kilometers, or the NLAWs, which the UK and Sweden have made together, which can do that at 500 to 800 meters, if not more. So they require standoff weapons, which they say the West is slow to provide.
All right, Gaurav, leave it at that. We'll keep coming back to you for more ground reports from war-torn Ukraine. That is Gaurav Sawant reporting from the war zone. As Russia continues to close in on capital city of Kyiv, the fourth round of peace talks is likely to happen in Belarus. The delegations from two countries have met 4 times before, including face-to-face talks between the foreign ministers, but have failed to yield any results. The only positive outcome of the peace talks has been creating a humanitarian corridor for civilians and brief ceasefire at certain locations. The last round of peace talks took place in Turkey, where the foreign ministers of the two countries met with Turkey's foreign minister mediating the talks. Ukrainian President Zelensky has called for Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett to intervene. The Ukrainian president has said that Jerusalem can be a constructive place to hold Russia-Ukraine talks.